How's everyone doing tonight? Now, just so I understand a bit more about you today, how many of you here are already entrepreneurs and you've already made your first dollar? Not just conceptualizing and planning, but you've already actually made your first dollar, either online or offline. Raise your hands. And how many of you here have been thinking of being entrepreneurs, but for some odd reason, you have been staying on this island that Brian Tracy likes to call Someday Island? Raise your hands. What's really stopping you guys from getting off the island and getting on the island that says, do it now island? Now, when you take a look at the picture or the photograph to the sides, what are some of the words that comes to mind? Can you just shout it out from where you are? Opportunity. Opportunity. What else? Action. Action. What else? Passing on. What's that? Passing on. Anything else? Legacy. Legacy. That was the word that I was looking for. Now, I don't know about you, because different people go into entrepreneurship or they go into business for different reasons altogether. Now, one of the reasons why people go into business is because of what, guys? Money. How many of you love money? We all love money, right? That was the reason why I went into business, other than the fact that I was unemployable. Now, other than money, some people like to say freedom. Can everyone say freedom? Freedom. More time. Right? So freedom, time, money are some of the things that people have been talking about whenever they go into business. However, when my wife told me that she was pregnant, it was about 7 months ago, when she told me that she was pregnant, what happened was I decided at that time that what I really wanted was that I wanted to create a legacy for my children. Now, how many of you here have children? Raise your hands. This is not a BNI meeting, yes? Mav, is it a BNI meeting here? Yeah, how many of you intend to have children in the future? Raise your hands. And I don't know if you can try to imagine, but imagine that in future, you already own a string of businesses, or even one solid, real business that actually gets you lots of revenue and profits. And you're able not to only pass down the business to your children, but you also manage to pass on the valuable knowledge of setting up businesses, systems, and create all the businesses from scratch. How would that feel like? How would that feel like, guys? Awesome. And that is really the reason why I think that entrepreneurship is big for me right now, because of the word legacy. Now, I have 20 minutes and I have lots of things to share with you, so I'll be talking really fast. Just a bit of background about myself. I'm a dropout 2 times from university, once using my mother's money, another using my father's money. I've since paid them. I've dropped out of Polytechnic as well. In Singapore, we have something called Polytechnic. I dropped out of Polytechnic as well. So I really couldn't study, and I really wasn't that employable at all. So the only course of action that I could take was to go into business. So I am an accidental entrepreneur, as I'm sure some of you are as well. All right, so today I want to make a bold claim. I want to share with you the world's easiest entrepreneurship system. Raise your hands if it's okay for me to share with you this system. I also want to make a disclaimer. I also happen to be the creator of the world's ugliest PowerPoint slides. Is it okay with you guys? All right? So from my reality, this is the world's easiest entrepreneurship system. I can go into advanced stuff, I can go into simple stuff, but today I just want to share with you, if I could just distill everything into one capsule or one nugget, then this would be the system that I would share with you over and over again. So the 3 objectives that I have tonight is, again, to show you how easy entrepreneurship is. Secondly, I want to give you a reliable template that you can use to begin to build your business tonight if you wanted to, and also aim to give you the freedom of lifestyle that most people long for. All right, so is it okay if I get started now? Yes, guys? Yeah. Okay, this is going to get a bit confusing for some people. It is actually very simple, very easy, but at the same time, it might seem a bit too simplistic that you're going to say, can't be true. I mean, it's impossible, right? Because this is where you are, and that is where you want to be. Most often, I think you would agree with me that the fastest way to go from where you are to where you want to be is a what, guys? A straight line. But the thing about entrepreneurs, many entrepreneurs that have just started out in this journey, I find is that they like to complexify things. They like to make things cool. They like to make things complicated. Why? Because if it's too easy, they don't feel as if they've earned their right to become an entrepreneur. And that's one of the myths that I aim to dispel or debunk today. Okay, so the first step, again, is simply to identify the right or decent business idea. And I want you to focus on the word decent. Can everyone say decent? Decent. Why do I say the word decent? Because I think you will agree with me that even if you don't have the best product or the best service, you can also make lots of money. Yes, guys? Yes. On the other hand, you cannot, sell something which is lousy or it's a scam. Don't go around selling black stones to old women and promise them to cure cancer. Right? That happened quite a bit in Singapore over the years. Right? So it doesn't have to be the best product in the world, but it also cannot be a outright scam. But it has to be decent. And the next step, after you've identified this decent business idea, of course, is you have to identify the right target audience. Now, the number one mistake that I see happening over and over again in entrepreneurship is that most people, when I ask them, who do you intend to sell to? They say everyone, as long as they have a pulse, as long as their body is still warm. Old, fat, young, skinny, stupid, clever, rich, poor, everything. But you have to understand this. If you try to sell everything to everyone, you end up selling nothing to no one. Okay? So again, I'll just say that again, if you try to sell everything to everyone, you will simply end up selling nothing to no one. And that's the thing that I've figured out long ago. It's much easier to go into a niche and dominate that niche. The third step, of course, is the first step is you have a decent idea. The second step is you have to find the right target audience. The third step is simply to place that decent business idea in front of the right target audience. Is this making sense so far, guys? Yes? Yes. Okay, I don't want to make things complex. And this is what a lot of people call marketing or lead generation. And I'll give you some examples of how I actually implemented all of this into my own businesses as well. Now, the fourth step is, once you have placed the business idea in front of the right target audience, there still remains one thing to happen before you get their money. And what is that, guys? You've got to convince them. You've got to excite them. And Dave Rogers and me are really huge on this word called excitement. We believe that if you don't get excited about the things that you're doing, then you're probably not going to be motivated for a long time. And at the same time, if you're not able to excite people, they're probably not going to buy from you. So the last step over here is to simply excite people to buy from you. So let's just dive right in, taking a look at some of the case studies from my own businesses as well. Because I don't want to make today just theory. I want to show you some of the practical stuff that I've been doing. So case study number one. This is actually my first business that I set up, which is called Saga Coaching Singapore. So what this business is about, we simply provide coaches to schools that need track and field coaches. So if you take a look at the four-step system that I've outlined just now, you would have seen that the first step was to find out what, guys? A decent product, a decent idea, or decent service. Would you say that a sports coaching business is a decent idea, yes? Is it a scam? Is it the best idea in the world? It's decent at the moment in time, right? So I chose sports coaching. Now, if you take a look at step number 2, you have to identify the target audience. And my target audience was simply people who were head of departments in the schools, teachers, and also the parents who would actually pay for sports coaching. So at this moment in time, I've already identified my target audience. I've also identified the business idea. Now, the third step, place the product in front of the right target audience. And all I did was I used direct mail and I did cold calling. How many of you here have done cold calling before and cried while doing it? Now, keep your hands up if you've done cold calling and it works for you. And that's okay. It's called hustling, right? Okay? So the point I'm trying to make to you today is that there is no one right way to achieve success. There is no one right way to get customers. For some of you, it might be cold calling. For some others, it might be direct mail. For yet some others, it could be internet marketing. So for this particular business, at that point in time, I wasn't really very good at internet marketing. So I used these methods, and they worked very well for me. Now, step number 4, once I had my product in front of the right teachers and parents and HODs, I still needed to excite them to buy from me. Why? Because whenever I present an offer to someone, they can do 3 things. The first is they buy from me. Secondly, they choose not to buy from me and they buy from a competitor. Or third, they just choose not to buy at all. So in order to convince them to buy from me and not my competitors or not to buy at all, I simply showed to them that my coaches were simply one of the best in Southeast Asia. These were the coaches that I hired from the Philippines who were Southeast Asian Games medalists or SEA Games coaches as well. So if you take a look back at this system, would you agree that this is something that is doable? Raise your hands if you think you could replicate this. I know some of you are not interested in sports coaching, so I'm going to show you a second case study. Okay, education profit systems. What is this business about? It's simply providing marketing services, branding, and solutions to tutors and tuition centers. We help teachers who are sick and tired of being in Ministry of Education, and they want to set up their own tuition centers because they want to take education their way. So we help them to brand themselves and get customers. So again, find a product or service. I chose marketing consultancy. I chose frustrated teachers and tutors. I use simply what? I use Facebook ads. And in a while, I'll show you how I use some of these Facebook ads. So that was me 5 years ago, right? I didn't even bother to tuck in my shirt. All I did was, I used something which was a bit more controversial, and I said, I'll reveal a secret that the Ministry of Education may not want you to know about. They may not want you to set up your own tuition business because ... So they had to click that, and they would be brought to my landing page, which simply captured their email address, and then my colleagues would then follow up with them, and we would close the sale. Is this making sense so far, guys? Yes? Okay. So I had to convince these teachers to buy from me and not from anyone else. So what I did was that I had to create a differentiation. I told them that I provide a total A to Z solution back in 2013, where I created everything for them. And back then, this was a lot of money for me. And even now, it's still a lot of money for me. But my point is that simply by placing myself in a niche, because in Singapore, there's a lot of marketing consultants, there's a lot of coaches, lots of trainers, lots of speakers, but nobody was specifically catering to the education market. So just by parking myself in that industry, I managed to get all of the customers from this particular field. So Hersler & Co. is, again, one of the tailoring businesses that I set up in 2014 with a partner. So what is this about? It's actually tailoring. I don't actually consume or use any of this stuff. I buy them off the rack. So that's why this is a lousy fit. So again, step number 1, you have to find a service or a product. And I chose custom tailoring for men. And my target audience is simply men who are aged between the ages of 26 to 39 with an income of $5,000 or more. Why do you think I'm targeting people between the ages of 26 to 39? Why not more than 39? Anyone wants to guess? What's that? Someone said they're not fashion savvy. Do you agree? Anybody above 39 here?
Still sexually active?
Still sexually active? Mav, that's the kind of joke that you would make, right? Okay. Below 26, they just don't have the money. Above 39, they call us pretentious bastards. I actually had to delete so many comments from people who are 45 and above, who they actually said pretentious young bastards. That's what they said, right? Because the branding is meant to be for pretentious young bastards. Does that make sense, guys? People like me and my friends. So, again, 26 to 39, $5,000 or more. I use Facebook ads, and this is what some of my Facebook ads look like. We didn't even have a website because we're just too plain lazy to create a website. So we simply got a group of people together, some ex-customers. We suited them up. We rented a space, and we did a GQ style, kind of videography and photography, and this is what it looks like. So when we flash this on people's Facebook, what's called news feeds, this was actually shown to pretentious young bastards. Aged between 26 to 39, probably has $5,000 or more. Because they were not buying clothes. What do you think they are buying, guys? Are they just buying cloth, fabric? What are they buying? What do you think when you see this picture? What are some of the words that comes to mind?
Nancy.
What?
Nancy.
What does it even mean?
Oh, sorry, a Singaporean.
Which is worse, Canadian or Singaporean, right, Dave? Okay. Yeah, so what else? Lifestyle. What else? Huh? Cool. What else? Do you think of the words inner circle, brotherhood, friendship, exclusivity? Do you get a sense of that? Yes or no? So we were not selling fabric or cloth. We were simply selling an idea or lifestyle to people. And that was why this actually worked very, very well for us. Within the first 2 months, we couldn't handle any new sales at all, even with our website. So we actually had a production issue, not a marketing issue. All right, so we had to convince people to buy from us and not your competitors. So what we did was that we will be placing people in-house who will give free shoe shines, haircuts, and also photo shoots for all clients. Now, if you're a man and you're aged between 26 and 39, and if I told you if you bought a suit from us, we will give you free shoe shines, haircuts, and also photo shoots like this to use for your Facebook cover or for whatever you wanted to use, or for your Tinder account, would you say that this is cool? Would you want this? Raise your hands if you would want this. And the girls in the house, raise your hands if you would like your men to look like this. See? So we are actually selling the lifestyle. We're not actually selling the fabric and cloth. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs get it wrong. The fourth step, the big word that I was talking about with Dave all over again, is the word excitement. If you're able to make people excited, they will buy from you. Otherwise, you're just a commodity. So just one more case study, Contemporary Artisans Gallery. But what we do is that we provide artworks to offices and residences in Singapore. Our target market is very simple. Target market is that we chose locals who had just bought their first home and expatriates who are here for the long term. Because a lot of people are not willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for artworks, but yet they still want to show off when people come to their house. Oh, I've got a nice painting, talking pieces, and so on. So what we did was we did a bit of replication. We changed some of the, for copyright issues and so on. And also expatriates who are here for the long term. So what we did was we used Google advertising plus Facebook advertisements. Google ads and Facebook ads. I don't actually have a screenshot of the Google ads that we ran, but this was one of the social proof Facebook ads that we ran. So it simply says, I want to show you how I saved 90% of my artworks and paintings from art galleries. Right? So it's not really pushy. It's, I just want to share with you and I want to show you how I saved money. For a limited time, only go to this URL or this website. And so people went there, and since it wasn't me tooting my own horn, it was a customer who actually said, I want to show you how I saved this money. There was a bit of more perceived trust and social proof going on as well. So that's what's great about Facebook advertising or marketing. You don't market in a vacuum. Like in email marketing, most of the time, you market in a vacuum. But over here, you see all these 123 replies and 181 shares and 3,000 likes. There's a lot of social proof going on. So Facebook advertising, to me, from my reality, is that it's much more dynamic than email marketing alone. And so, again, I had to convince them to buy from me and not my competitors, right? So what I did was, in order to excite them, we allowed for 100% customization in terms of texture, color, shape, size. We even sent people down to the houses, and we did door-to-door services based on their themes of their house. And we even photoshopped some of the paintings on their walls even before they purchased. So we went out of the way to really attract these people. So it's just a 4-step system. So there's a lot of things that I can share with you, but I just want to share with you some of the things that changed my life and turned my life around. Because when I was 25, before I was 25, my life really sucked, right? 2-time dropout from university, 1-time dropout from polytechnic, girlfriend dumped me, I couldn't find a job. My mom would wake me up every day at 2 p.m. for me to get up and pray my Zoho prayers, and then she would say, go and get a job as a bank teller or as a cashier somewhat, and I didn't want to do that. But once I come across these things, Google AdWords, Facebook marketing, learn on how to write persuasively, and also being able to test new business ideas fast, my life began to change. And I believe that if you adopt these steps as well, your life will also begin to change. And I think that one of the key elements to entrepreneurship and being able to really make money from the first or second month is the ability to really, really test new business ideas fast. For me, it's as simple as, do I have much time? 5 minutes?
Okay.
10 minutes, okay. For me, what I found to be really useful is this. I found that I really had to get really fast at taking an idea, putting up on an ugly website. Can everybody say ugly website? I'm not saying that ugly website always outsells or outpulls or outconverts beautiful websites. I'm saying that speed of implementation. See, speed attracts money. Money is attracted to speed. So if you're trying to make things too perfect, make everything in line before you even launch anything, you're going to find that it's going to be very difficult for you to actually validate any of those business ideas. In fact, even before I entered that relationship with that tailor, not that kind of relationship, business relationship with that tailor, who was based from Malaysia as well, Kuala Lumpur guy, came to Singapore. What we did was we had to validate this idea. He came to me and he said, you know, Imran, I think there's a lot of potential for this business. I said, are you sure? Let's test it out. So what I did was that I just took one of the photos that he did in a group setting. I put it on Facebook. I targeted people like Esquire, FHM, Playboy, Penthouse, that kind of stuff that men read nowadays. And then we got a lot of response from these people. And from there on, we knew that there was response, there was going to be demand. We just went in and we did the business. Within just 1 or 2 weeks, we knew there was a demand. Okay, so you have in your possession technology that will allow you to test these business ideas over and over again. So if you're trying to make things more complex just so that, you know, it's cool or something, I would urge you probably not to go down that route, because I've been down that route before. I've seen many of my own friends going down that route, and it's not a beautiful route at all. All right, so again, some of the common problems that a lot of people face are what idea and, you know, how to do marketing and how to create a website. These are some of the things that I hear over and over again. And I think that in terms of what idea, what to sell, how many of you have been struggling with this question, what can I sell? Raise your hands. Most of you have an idea about what you want to sell, isn't it? Or probably you've seen a competitor doing it and you say, I can actually do a better job than they can. And oftentimes, that's where the spark comes. It's when you see someone doing something and you say that there is something that you can do better than they can, either cheaper, I don't recommend cheaper, but if you can do it in a way that is better than them, or serve a market that other people are not serving yet, like my education profit systems, where I serve the teachers when nobody else would want to serve them, that entrenched me as an expert or as an authoritative position in my own industry. So take a look at some of these things and see whether there are any gaps in your market as well. And some of you are probably thinking how to do marketing. Come on, go to the library, pick up books. When I dropped out from university, I didn't have any money. My parents wouldn't give me any money to set up an art gallery or you know, set up an office. And instead of sulking, I hated my mom and dad at that time for a while. I was like, how can you not give me money? Because they said, well, it's because you've let us down too many times. You are going to let us down again, and this time round it's going to be a $50,000 letdown. And we are not going to allow you to do that to us. And it's fair. So what I did was that in Singapore, there's a place called Bugis National Library. And on the 8th floor, there's lots of marketing entrepreneurship books. So every day from 9 a.m. until maybe closing time 8 or 9 p.m., I would just be there and I would just learn as much as I can. Because when you go through formal education, aka university, for example, you're probably given modules to what you want to study, right? Am I right, guys? Yeah. So what I did was that I had my own selective university going on. I wanted to create a website. I just went there, picked up a book on how to create a website. Boom, done. Now that I have a website, it's not persuasive at all. I needed to learn on how to write persuasive copywriting. And what did I do? I just went back to the same library, picked up a book on copywriting. Boom, it's done. And I needed to get traffic to come to the website. What did I do again, guys? Just went back to the library again, picked out some books on how to get traffic. Boom, done. Is it making sense so far, yes? Does it sound difficult? It's really selective, but it's really amazing. Jim Rohn said this, right? He said, what did he say? Formal education makes you a living, but then informal education or self-education makes you a fortune. That's what Jim Rohn said. And how to create a website. Again, I wouldn't have to tell you because you guys are quite savvy, you know, WordPress. But I'm still using Weebly.com. I'm still using Wix.com. Ugly websites. Again, the emphasis is this. Do you want to create websites that win you design awards? Or do you want to create a website that makes you money? Which one? The second one. So I'm much more focused on making money, and then once I've made some good money from it, it's validated. Then I go and get a designer and say, can you make this more beautiful for me? As opposed to many of my friends who are so obsessed, and the keyword is obsessed, with creating perfection. You know, Van Gogh artwork, with Picasso. Is that music? No, not Picasso music. What music? I don't know. And it's so beautiful and flash. It doesn't make money. Doesn't make money. Right? So that's my main beef with this type of business owners.